जय हिंद एवरीवन. टुडे वी हैव विद अस कमांडर राम गुरु. आज हम एक थोड़ा सा एडवांस्ड टॉपिक के ऊपर टॉक करेंगे. आज सर से बातचीत करेंगे. आई मीन द टॉपिक इज दैट once you have transited and now you are finding your place in the corporate sector, what are the essential steps or the essential behavioral aspects you should be focused on so that you not only transit, you progress and do well in the corporate. And that is what I would be interacting with Ram sir today. And once me and Commander Gurung have completed our conversation, then you're most welcome to ask your questions. Before I do that, I would like to give a small introduction about Ram sir. Commander Ram Gurung is an ex-NDA, a submariner, and then he also did his MBA from the prestigious FMS, Faculty of Management Studies, Delhi University. He completed Six Sigma Green Belt from the Institute of Statistical Studies, and then he has worked as a consultant for the Defense and Airspace vertical with one of the famous Grant Thornton, that's a consulting company, and now sir has been actively involved in helping officers transition from uniform to corporate careers. So we have been interacting with him quite a lot, and he has been guiding and mentoring a lot of officers. He himself has established a benchmark to help at least 10,000 officers in this journey of their transition from the uniform to corporate. So welcome to today's talk, Ram sir.
Yeah, thank you so much, Vipul, for those kind words and yet giving me another opportunity for connect to you.
सर हमारा जो बातचीत का तरीका है वो भी एक थोड़ा सा mostly we have a regimented commanding style of conversation, slightly clipped also. Is there something which is different the way corporates or say the people in corporates speak to each other and the way we speak to each other?
Okay. In fact, initially when when I was a newbie, let's say in the corporate, so when I used to ask somebody like, why is this task not done? Or you're supposed to be there for the meeting yesterday. I mean, why you are not there? So I used to observe that जब मैं बोलता था ना उसके बाद उस साइड से ऐसा लगता था जैसे मैंने उनको डांट दिया. There was just no response. So I used to wonder ऐसा क्यों, मतलब मैं तो normally बात कर रहा हूँ. I mean, that's the way we used to actually talk in the forge, and nobody actually ever, sensed that way कि मैंने थोड़ा जोर से बोल दिया या थोड़ा commanding voice हो गया. Then later I realized that maybe, by virtue of being there in the force for so long, जिस तरीके से हम normal बात भी करते हैं ना, let's say a civilian ko, right? A civilian here means a person who's in the corporate, right? He may feel a little offended, or because he have never heard his seniors or his team members talking to them like that. तो मुझे फिर थोड़ा सा अपना टोन को और अपना जो फॉर्मेलिटी उसको थोड़ा सा चेंज करना पड़ा, टू मेक इट फर्स्ट appear little less demanding, ताकि उनको ऐसा ना लगे कि मैं हुकुम चला रहा हूँ टाइप, तो हमारी वो आवाज में कहीं ना कहीं आ जाती है, हमको रियलाइज नहीं होता है, राइट? But it was later when somebody told me, a good friend in the team, I had built a good rapport, that he told to me that, Ram, I think when you actually talk to a team member or something like that, it appears कि आप थोड़ा सा, commanding हो रहे हो या authority जमाने की कोशिश कर रहे हो, which I said actually that was not the intention, right? That's the way I actually talk, and that's the way we used to do earlier. But जब उसने ये कहा मैं, तो फिर then, I mellowed down, same message, but little toned down, little more informal. So that was the first thing. That is basically the verbal part of it. The second is the email, because you will realize a lot of things actually happens on email, right? और अभी तो hybrid का जमाना है, तो I think most of the even meetings, note takings will also actually happen in hybrid mode. So first में हम लोग उतना email के ऊपर we don't rely so much, right? जो कुछ भी है, either we write on file or it's a verbal thing, right? So that particular thing actually corporate में उतना ज़्यादा कारगर नहीं है, right? There everything actually moves on email. So learning little bit on email, how do you write? Again वहाँ पर भी we may actually tend to use the physical language, it is pertinent to mention or something, this kind of thing, or abbreviations. फौज में हम लोग काफी abbreviations use करते हैं, which people actually don't appreciate, and if they don't understand, then there's no point of writing that email, right? So वो email etiquette भी थोड़ा सा लाना पड़ेगा, with respect to the written part, and I think rest of the things will follow. बाकी the way we converse is quite legible, right? Is quite understood by the people. Only thing is थोड़ा सा tone, I'll say, थोड़ी formalities, right? And the email etiquettes with respect to how do we write, so that that looks कि भैया हाँ किसी corporate खिलाड़ी ने लिखा है. Back to you, Vipul.
एक और पॉइंट जो आता है, except for some of the stations say Delhi, जहाँ पर headquarters and the residential areas are far apart, most of the cantonments are developed in a way that commuting time is very less when you're in service. The work-life balance in Forge is slightly better, at least I feel so. Corporates में कई बार काम में भी बहुत stretch हो जाता है, and there are different kind of pressures, especially if you are in operations or business development, those kind of roles. So how do you suggest that people manage that stress and work-life balance when they move to the corporate?
Okay, yeah, work-life balance बहुत important है, because most of the at least some of the officers that when they talk to me, they say, sir, I want a kind of a job where there's a work-life balance. So अच्छा है, right? Work-life balance, definitely, everybody should aspire for that kind of job. But again, it depends on the kind of job that you're moving for. So हो सकता है that that work-life balance that we say actually may be there or may not be there. So पहले जो है, I think we should go with the open mind कि हो सकता है we need to stretch those working hours. Like if I talk about my first job, though the office hours was 9 to 5:30, because I was at the client site in Mumbai, right, in the consulting. So client side used to close open at 9 o'clock, and they generally used to close by 5 to 5:30, unless there's a meeting schedule. But since I was new, a lot of learning need to be done. So I used to go home and stretch my working time till 9:30. Right? But that was initially for about 6 to 8 months. And that was required because, as I said, we need to excel in our second career as well. And because ऐसे तो कुछ होगा नहीं, right? We need to definitely put in that kind of work and effort. Initially, yes, to learn, जैसे in consulting, report writing or making DPR kind of thing, or I was consulting, so learning about the strategies. So those were actually important for me. So वो time stress हो जाता था. But what I used to do, again, क्योंकि फौजी लोग हैं, exercise तो करना ही है. So there was no time. So what I used to do was I was staying about 1 kilometer away from office. मैंने घर ही ऐसे ले रखा था. वहाँ पर I was staying alone. My family was in Delhi. So मैं क्या करता था, morning में I used to walk down. Right, 1 kilometer walk down to the office, and evening again 1 kilometer walk back to the home. So उससे जो है थोड़ा बहुत some kind of exercise used to be there, so that I could actually focus on work as well. And whenever there was no time, at least I have done that 2 kilometer of walk every day. Now, having said that, little later, you need to set your time boundaries. Otherwise, क्या होगा, as somebody said, that work always expands to the time that it is available. Right? अगर हम कहें कि भैया ओके इंस्पेक्शन नेक्स्ट वीक है, तो हम उसी तरीके से काम करेंगे, राइट? एंड अगर 2 दिन पहले इंस्पेक्शन से बोलेंगे कि नहीं इंस्पेक्शन 1 हफ्ता और शिफ्ट हो गया, then you'll find that you will still have so many work to do, right? So work always expands to the time that is available with it. Okay, so with respect to that, always try to set some timelines. This is my boundary. In fact, let's say 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, and after this, these are the activities that I need to do with respect to the family, हो सकता है, with respect to your own exercise, going to gym or playing sports or doing some other course or reading, whatever. But that is your self time. And ये कहीं ना कहीं start नहीं करेंगे तो automatically होगा नहीं. And second is leave. Now देखो फौज में depending on who is where, sometimes people may get 1 month leave, sometimes people may get even more than that, 30-40 days at a stretch. Corporate में शायद ऐसा सीन नहीं है. I've not seen anybody, taking more than 10 or 15 days at a stretch, right? Maximum, I think 1 month ka hi hota hai with some casual leaves and all, but generally it is not for so long, right? So what I used to do was, whenever I used to go to a new project or a new program, the first thing that I used to do was, okay, leave plan, so that everybody could get their leave. जैसे फौज में हम लोग करते हैं, but जब मैं गया था client side में, actually they were not following this kind of thing. So that was the first thing actually I implemented, so that people know that yes, they will get leave when they ask for. That is already incorporated in the work. So I'll say take leave in between. Leave बचा के फायदा नहीं है, because that is required for you to refresh. Even if you are okay, you can always take once or twice 2 days a leave in a month, right? So that will help you to give that work-life balance. Otherwise, I don't think कि ऐसा कहीं instituted mechanism है कि okay, you have done this much, अभी आप छुट्टी जाओ, right? So that has to be built upon by oneself. That's what I say.
Sir, usually when officers are transitioning, depending on the kind of service they are put in, minimum is 10 years, most of the cases. It is also at times up till 20 years, 30 years and all. So naturally, the officers have learned a lot of skills which are from the uniform, which are as per the requirements of the armed forces. How can these skills or that experience be leveraged to do the corporate jobs well?
Every skill that any Faujis have learned while in this service is applicable. तो हम चाहे मतलब जितने भी आप लीडरशिप के ट्रेड्स बोल रहे हो या मैनेजमेंट के टेक्निक्स बोलो या स्ट्रेटजीज बोलो, I mean everything is applicable, right? It's just only the setting is different and the way we will actually execute, maybe वहां पर थोड़ा सा चेंज है, otherwise more or less it's same, right? For example, leading from the front बोल लो, being a role model, right? Thinking from your team members' point of view, being in their shoes, whether whatever directions I'm going to give is going to affect them in positive or a negative way, right? Seeking feedback from your team members, colleagues, seniors, juniors, being open to discuss, right? Thinking about the welfare of your team members first, being proactive, making plans, right? Making not only plan A but plan B as well, right? All the having a big picture, motivating your team, inspiring your team. So yes, sab cheez actually we have been doing this in the force, and this actually can be naturally translated into the new environment, right? Even demonstrating the discipline. जब बाहर किसी को बोलो फौज मतलब discipline. Now, but discipline उसको बहुत ही what do you call restrictive manner में use करते हैं, coming on time. I said coming on time is actually you cannot call it a discipline, because that you can call it what do you call कि जो है एकदम time पे आता है ये, right? It is just a small part of discipline, right? Because discipline also means strong work ethic, right? Or following all the rules and regulations, right, to give the quality results for your team. So ये हम सब कुछ करते आए हुए हैं, and all these skills, mind you, all these skills are going to help you in your new environment as well. And वहां पर जो भी आपके team members हैं ना, they will actually have a very high regard for the kind of service that Fauji's has done, right? And they want to see you being in that kind of a role there as well. But yes, as I said, with certain minor changes in the way it is actually executed. Otherwise, skill wise, जितने भी skills फौज ने किए हैं, फौज ने सिखाए हैं, everything is applicable. Everything is applicable.
Gotta focus on yourself, on your faith, on your dreams, on your mind.